Gwen is going to do the invocation and Wes the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Lord, we come to you today thanking you for the opportunity to meet freely. We ask you to be with us today in the decisions we make. May they be pleasing to you and be help to our community. These things we pray in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
President remarks. I don't have any for today. City administration. Don?
Good morning. Yeah, things are moving along really good on the development side with all the developments we have going on. Some of you made it to Tractor Supply's grand opening last Saturday, so that was a big success and exciting for the city and how things are going to grow. Not only a good place to shop, but revenue for the city, and hopefully will attract more business as well. As far as the home developments go, Stonehurst, which is right behind us, they're getting real close to doing their final inspection and walkthrough. Sunset Ridge, which is down by Valero across from Funtown RV, we have it scheduled to do the final walkthrough on that next Wednesday. The Canyons, I believe, has 60 plus homes under construction, which is behind the high school. And Ashton Home Place is way ahead of that, about 65, 70 homes under construction over there. So things are looking up.
That sounds great.
Unless Jonathan has something.
So I have a question.
Sure.
So I understand, and I did not attend the last city meeting, but I understand the last city meeting, they approved the purchasing the CCN so they could actually provide water for the development that is going back here. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's good.
Also, too, I wanted to give a big thank you to Samantha Gillen and Gwen Beeson here for helping with the Dane property. That's finally getting resolved, and hopefully it'll be ready to be official today, hopefully. Today. So big thank you to you ladies and maintaining that relationship, and yeah, so.
She's an awesome lady. The one thing I would like to ask about that, Don, you know, we had promised her that when that house was torn down, that stone that her husband had carried from Arkansas out there would be put on our sign. And I know at one time they said that it was going to be too cost prohibitive to do that. However, there are people, I had a guy tell me it was going to be $80,000 to move a small brick fence, and it was like $2,000. So I think you can shop around and get someone to take that stone down before it's just bulldozed and crushed.
Well, taking the stone down is not a big issue. It's cleaning it up, getting all the mortar off of it and the cement off of it to make it look nice to go. That's where the cost would be.
Okay.
I don't want to say prohibitive, but it would be extensive. I've had one person look at it so far, but I have not asked anybody else about it.
Okay. We might want to do that, just have an idea.
Well, yeah, once this is all done, then we'll have to, move forward with a decision on
Whether you can do it or not, right.
Demolish the house and
Yeah.
clean up the land.
And is there any way to put, excuse me, put some kind of a acknowledgement for her husband on there, or for the Dane family?
Yeah, we can make that an agenda item once we get to the point.
Okay,
about it.
and that would need to be approved by council, I imagine. Okay, thank you. That's all I have on that. Are there any public comments? Paul, would you?
I can speak now or
till the budget. It's coming up really quick. Okay. Is there any other public? Nothing? Okay. There is no public hearing today, and we're going to review and discuss and consider the minutes of the regular Keene EDC Type A Board meeting held on May 21st, 2025. And that should be in your packet there.
So I happen to be here for that time. I move the minutes from May 21, 2025, regular Keene Economic Development Corporation Type A Board meeting be approved as presented. So
Second.
Okay.
He did.
2 seconds.
Take his.
At least it was seconded, huh? Okay. Okay. Review and discuss and give,
need a vote on that?
oh, all those in favor? With 2 seconds, I thought we had it. Okay, so, okay. A review and discuss and give direction to staff regarding the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget for the Keene Economic Development Corporation Type A Board. So that's this new review budget.
All right, so correct. So in your packets that were emailed to you the other day, and then what you have in front of you that's stapled, that is the current approved budget for this year. And then what I just passed out to you is, I just made some minor changes, but we'll go through each one of those line by line and kind of talk about the budget, get your feelings on it, and then bring it back to you next month for approval. You know, in the meantime, take it home, look at it. If something pops up, you know, let us know, and we'll discuss it and get it ready for next meeting for final approval before it goes to council.
I have one question. How did the top one there, development, neighborhood services and maintenance staff, $70,000 go down to $44,000?
Well, because I took that one out.
Okay, so we're not gonna,
No, A-Board should not be supporting that particular position. That was a new position that was created now, and basically they're gonna be under Public Works, and they're gonna be kind of like a field supervisor over,
that's the services part of it.
correct.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah. So A-Board really shouldn't pay any of that. It'll be split between a third of B-Board, Water Sewer Fund, and General Fund.
okay, good, because I was wondering what that was. Okay. Any other questions about the review? Okay. So we don't need to vote on that, just,
No, we're just gonna discuss each one of them.
Okay.
Kind
Okay.
of let me know your feelings. You know, this is kind of what staff came up with.
okay.
Next month,
And so next month,
we'll officially approve.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
And this is based on, pretty roughly based on last year's budget as well?
Correct. Mira, would you like to speak to what she's kind of projecting? I didn't get a chance to put it on this sheet yet as far as, you know, expected revenue.
Right.
It's
That would
gone
be
up
my
a
next
little bit.
question. Yeah.
It's not on.
Good morning, Board.
there you go.
Okay, so revenue sales tax. So basically, what we've done for the past 2 weeks is I've been looking at sales revenue from the past. And this year, what we're trying to do is to really pinpoint and monitor the upcoming pipeline that are coming into Keene. So we know there are 2 major retailers that are going to be added to the next fiscal year. So what I've done is do an average and look at different cities that they actually, you know, exist in different cities. And I took an average of that, considering our population and their population and all that good stuff. And I have projected to have a total of $368,200 for the revenue sales tax. It's not on any of your notes, by the way. And then for interest, so going back, I'm sorry, I have to start again. The revenue that we get for the EDCA comes from two main line items. One of them is the sales tax, and the other one is the monthly interest on the money market account. And the $368,200 is to represent this revenue sales tax for 2025 and 2026. Last year, it was only $340,000, but we know that these major retailers are coming, and the extra 28,000 or so is from these two major retailers. And the interest, I have projected it to be lower because the current amount that we have actually includes this, the 380 agreement that we have with Tractor Supply that still sits there. So I have to project it to be lower because at some point, we're gonna have to use it, right? So as opposed to $8,000, it's going to be $6,000 for the year, giving us a total of $374,000 and $374,200. That was hard. But anyway, that's the projected revenue for next year.
Okay.
Any questions?
A question, do we not have, I was looking on this, the mowing for the industrial park out there, do we not still have the cattle running on there? Mr.
Yes,
Patterson?
yes, we do. That's still leased, but this mowing was just mainly around, like Texas Pocket Springs, the part that the city owns that we hadn't sold yet.
Okay,
So I'd like to leave that in there because there may be some areas, if we don't use it, we don't use it, but
well, I agree, I just was wondering if we still had them on there, because they were paying something, right, yearly?
yeah, I want to say it's, I can't remember the dollar amount it is per year, 1,200 or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, so it's a part of that 5,000, so
Right.
help with that, yeah, okay, good.
All good?
Okay, any questions for Mira?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mira.
Thank you.
Okay, so, office rental, that should stay the same. Then we move on to training and travel. I'd like to keep those in there, even though I haven't had a chance to go to any classes yet this year. We may be going to one next month, trying to, if we can get away for a couple of days. So I'd like to leave that in there just in case, whether it be me or somebody else. Hint, hint.
What?
He didn't catch that. Like, dues and subscriptions, that should basically be the same. We need all that stuff, so that wouldn't change any. And as far as I know, none of the prices have gone up. Vehicle registration, vehicle maintenance, that should be the same. The only thing in there is, I didn't buy any tires this year. I did the previous year for that vehicle, and then they should be okay. But hopefully they'll make it through next year, but I'd like to leave it in there just in case. Small office equipment, that should remain the same. Legal services, we have $2,500 in there, if needed to.
That's a line item that I would actually like to increase if you all would consider it, just because our legal fees are, it is what it is, but the city's developing, and so with that development comes, more need for legal, so that is an area that I would actually like to increase if you'd be willing to.
What would you propose on that, sir?
$100,000. No,
It's $2,500 right now.
yeah, and I'll be honest, that's not much.
That
I'll
would be
just-
10 that would be 10
just-
hours.
Just to be transparent, our legal fees, I'm thinking as a whole, as a city, needs to be budgeted about $120,000. And that sounds like a lot, but again, every attorney fee invoice that I get, I go through it and I break it out. And typically, about 4,000 of it a month is for development and out in the city, So, and part of that is right now is we're really trying to get, our city current. A lot of, it's so outdated. And so we're really spending a lot of time trying to just make sure that the laws that are in place and everything is abiding by state laws and, you know, HIPAA laws and, you know, the list goes on and on right now. So I'm really kind of projecting, eventually it'll come down a little bit, but for right now, anything that you'd be willing to contribute to that would be great. Like I said, 4,000 a month average right now is for actual, you know,
That's the city as a whole, so what percentage would our Economic Development Board, what portion of that 4,000 per month would you think that we might?
well, like the Kittle project, that's type A stuff, right? Wouldn't that be considered development?
Some of it, the majority of that will be recouped, I guess you could say, through permitting fees, things of that nature.
Well, I'm talking about the attorney portion.
Yeah, but that's falls more under development services. Now, if a board was going to contribute some type of incentive or something, then yes, that would fall under them, but as far as I know, we're not.
I don't know, the number in my head is 20,000.
That's what I was gonna say.
And if we don't spend it,
It's still there.
yes.
Yeah, and because again, you know, these chains and stuff, the hope is that it's going to attract more businesses, which would be, you know, from you, and attorneys do have to look over all this stuff. I mean, there's just no way around that to protect the city, so.
So isn't it a lot easier to have enough in our budget to cover rather than go back to council and say, we need to put more money in this?
That's what they tell me.
So I would agree with going along with what you and Ms. Gillen.
But if it's in the budget and and it's scheduled to give the city so much per month, it will not stay in our budget if not used. We're giving it to the city every month. Am I not correct?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it would have to be justified that it came, you know, was part of economic development.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
In other words, it
we
can't be
would
used
get-
for anything else unless the board agrees to it,
Correct.
because that's the A board money.
Right.
Okay.
So in other words, you're kind of like presenting us with a invoice and, okay, say $5,000 for the last 2 months. And so from those invoices, then you take the $5,000 from our budget?
If it came to that, yes.
Well, I know, that's
Yes.
just a hypothetical
Yes.
number.
Well, and right now, attorney fees are anywhere from $250 an hour to $500 an hour or more.
Right.
And so $2,500, what?
Right.
And
we
they
have-
review, they review contracts or something twice, that would be
Yeah.
$1,000.
Right. So,
So, yeah,
The city will be glad to know that we negotiated a rate lower than that. So it gets a
Well,
little bit,
exactly,
gets you a
so I'm
little
just
bit
saying,
more.
Yeah,
yes, whenever an invoice like that comes in, it gets broken down, you know, this portion goes to this, you know, account, this portion goes to this account.
Okay.
It moves on like that.
just want to share numbers if it's helpful. Last year, we budgeted 60,000, and year-to-date, we are at 75,000.
that's the whole city.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah. Okay.
the entire city.
Okay, so we go with 20,000?
20,000, I think.
Well, I mean, that's,
That's a big jump.
Yes, it is, but things are increasing everywhere on everything.
I mean, we can go to 10. I mean, I just know that number is too low. Because again, like I said, I look at the invoices and I break out what departments are, you know, what it's, you know, where that's coming from. And, yeah, I know that 2,500 will not cover the things that we want to accomplish, is all
So-
I'm saying.
So if we go to 10,000, that's 4 times what we have in the budget right now. Will that cover, do you think that will cover, that we would have to come back to council to increase that, or will that be adequate?
Yeah, that's kind of hard to say. It all depends on, you know, whether
I know you
large
don't have
company-
a mirror.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, here's what we can do. If it'll make everyone feel comfortable, we'll go at 10,000, and if we have to come back and ask for more halfway through the year, we will, but.
This city council, I'm not comfortable having to go back to city council for anything. Let's put it at 20,000.
Oh, that's.
Got it.
I
whatever.
agree with that, because it's gonna be there in case we need it. If not, it'll roll over to next year, right?
Yes,
Okay.
it would remain in the money market account.
Yeah, and this is talking about the 25, 26
Did you like that?
calendar year, correct?
Correct. And
Okay.
your expenses, I mean, just looking at what I did without a couple of additions, are only 117,000, and you got close to 400 coming in, hopefully. So it's not like we're gonna be crunched at, oh, that $10,000 is gonna put us close to being over budget for the year,
Yeah,
so.
okay.
Okay. Any other questions on that?
Good.
And there is 5,000 in there for a grant writer if necessary, if we need to do something for some type of grants. Then the next page, we get on to city services. You have a portion of the city secretary and the finance director. That may change slightly depending on COLAs and insurance as that comes available, and we should have those numbers a lot closer, when we bring it back to you next month. The rest of them, this is kind of what Mr. Paul Knott was talking about, advertising and promotions. Paul, if you'd like to speak.
Advertising.
Okay, Type A, good morning.
Morning.
Thank you all for being here, and I'm here representing the Keene Chamber of Commerce to thank you for your many, many years of support and to request that continue. My exhibit, I have an exhibit that's a teal color today, and it outlines your participation with the Keene Chamber since 2023. But under the 2026 column, what we're asking for, of course, you'd continue your membership with the Keene Chamber, and then there's no increase on here at all for your participation, your support with the flag program, the Keene Chamber banquet, where you have been providing that $750 sponsorship plus one table, and then the Christmas parade and fireworks, you've been contributing $3,000.
I have a question about that.
Okay. Well, I'll take that now. Sure, Wes.
Okay. So, politically speaking, Mr. Trump has put a lot of tariffs on things, and our fireworks come from China. Is 3,000 going to be enough to cover the fireworks adequately this year, given the tariffs that have now been imposed on China?
My position on that is, first of all, there were some price increases last year. You see why we went from $2,600 to $3,000. And then we have a good relationship with Pyro Shows of Texas, who not only do our fireworks show, they do the Texas Rangers, they do the Dallas Cowboys. But we're about the only show in town at that time around Christmas. And then in our relationship with them, providing them a nice place to shoot, providing them pizza, providing them unlimited supply of liquid, why they extended the time of the show for us. I thought last year's show was an outstanding show.
Yeah.
And the one thing I would do, now this is just speaking for myself, rather than ask you for an increase, I'll invite others to participate. Maybe HEB, maybe Hughley, maybe, so we can
Also
not
some Tractor
always
Supply.
ask you for more money, but involve others, and I would do that. We'll see. Right now, they've agreed to do about the same show for us.
Okay, okay.
So that's where we are. But you're exactly right. And then, this is just, again, speaking only for myself, it's $10,000 fireworks show, and poof, it's gone. $10,000 is just gone. It's like, I think we figured out $400 per second, something like that. So anyway, or per minute maybe. However, there was a good feeling in town about the fireworks show, and It was positive, and the parade, and with 4,000 spectators along
Yeah.
Old Betsy Road. So, our business expo is the next to the last item there. It's bolded because we're moving to Tuesday. We're moving off of Sunday. So we already have had the business expo for this year. This year's expo is done. And we had 8 exhibitors who've been with us for years, did not show up because it came to fruition what they've been telling us, they cannot find staff on Sunday. So we're moving off of Sunday, and of course, we're at the mercy of Southwestern Adventist University when we can use that gym, and they've made it available on Tuesday, October 21. For your consideration, I'm suggesting you may want to enter a golf team in the golf tournament, give you a chance to maybe invite some investors, developers, others. Don Martin would love to play.
Thanks, Paul.
And so would Jonathan on Type A. And also, you may want to consider, we had the Reach Council sponsor our May luncheon, and they paid for the luncheon for one of their projects called Starting Point. We had 138 people, and it did cost them about $2,600. But that would be an opportunity for Type A just to tell your story. Tell your story and to support the luncheon. That's not really suggesting that. Our luncheons are fine, but there's an opportunity for you to dominate there. Anyway, that's our request. Some items are already in the 2025 budget. I think we've already got the flags, but I'm asking for this to be in 2026.
If I played that golf there, that would be a real good reason to have more money for the attorney. Yeah,
Yeah, after you play golf, there may be a need for an attorney.
that's what I
Yeah.
said.
Okay, I understand. All right. Okay, Type A, any questions? Yes, Rolando.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Paul. The question that comes to my mind is, in several occasions, I have asked people in the community that I relate to with some of the activities. I was trying to see do we know what is the participation rate? Do we have a lot of people participating based on, how many people we have in the community, how many participate? Do we have 50%, 20%, 10%? I don't know. Do we have something like that? Because what I understood is that there was a lack of understanding of what's going on, like how to see what activities are going. I say, well, I know some of the activities, I know what's going on, but they were asking if there was a specific location where the city will advertise, or what is the channel for people to know is this specific place, because it seems like there is a little bit of confusion. So the two questions that I had is if we know what is the participation from the community into those activities, and the other one, what is the official channel of communication, if we can say that?
No, I do not know the percentage of participation. I continue to be frustrated by people I ask, did you see the parade? Well, no, I didn't go, didn't have time. Or people will say, well, I didn't know this event was taking place.
That's right.
Now, today at the chamber luncheon, our chamber board meeting this afternoon, we're having a presentation for a new webpage. And I think it's going to be a knockout. I think we're going to go to that. Our webpage right now is just terrible. So we're improving that, and part of that improvement, in my opinion, will come with a community calendar. We need a city-wide calendar. Every resident of the city who has internet service can go online and get an accurate display of what's coming up. And it would include everything. It would include all the schools, it would include all Type A, Type B, all the volunteer organizations, and I think that is needed. Yes, Mrs.
Do
Gill.
you all have the website for the chamber to where you could put that calendar on there and stuff, and then someone maintain it?
That's
so
where
that-
it'll be, yeah, it'll be.
Yeah, because I think that if we start referring people, hey, go to the chamber, because any of the events are going to be on there, and maybe we can coordinate with the university if they're gonna have something too, that would go on there, just so that everybody can have one place they can go.
The university has an excellent calendar. I just received it yesterday to know when we put up the flags, when we display the flags for their alumni graduation and the basketball tournament. We've agreed to do that. So, and it's an excellent calendar. And Dr. Stevens at Keene ISD has an excellent calendar. And other organizations have excellent calendars. But me looking for an event would have to go here, here, here. So we're trying to make that one-stop shopping. It's gonna take a little bit to work at. It's gonna take some meetings
Yeah.
and some work, but once it's done, and then just needs to be updated occasionally, yes.
With these calendars from the different places, do they integrate, or are there different programs?
Yeah, no, they do not
So,
integrate. It would be, yes.
so I have a
It-
question, and it may parallel with what the city is doing. I've been gone. My head's been gone for almost a year, and I'm back. But, and so I don't know if the sign out here at the city is functioning again the way it should be. And I know that general insurance has had a sign that you've been able to use periodically. And I know that the university has the electronic sign. Can those be coordinated together through the chamber or through the university or through the city? And I'm not suggesting Facebook, because Facebook is probably the bane of the society, in my opinion. But if we could integrate those together, those different signages, and maybe there needs to be one up here. Traffic on Old Betsy is incredible.
It is.
I can answer some of that. So the sign got the final approval from the last council meeting. So Radian will be putting a new sign out there. So, and then as far as coordinating the signs, I know we can probably with like Mr. Bosey and here, but I've actually gone to the university because asking them to promote things, and they will only promote things for their university.
And CTA is the same way.
Yeah, and you know, and I understand that, because if they start doing it, then everybody's going to want to do it, and it's for them.
But if we have 2 signs, 2 out of 4, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Just,
On the main.
parade, December 7th, because people are driving 45 miles an hour down there.
And we are trying to build those relationships. Like I said, when I first got here, I feel like there was a lot of siloed, and my vision is we all communicate so that we're pooling our resources, because we can get a lot further if we pool our resources versus mine. So that is something we're working on. And so university will reach out to me, and we will promote it on our Facebook and our website and, that types of thing. So that hopefully will get better with time.
Yes.
And Paul, maybe we can hand out a calendar, a chamber calendar at one of our at our luncheons,
Certainly, it can be
so
printed.
that, have one on every table.
It would be a book, but yeah.
Huh? Well, I mean, at least people can hand carry it there, because there's a lot of people that don't go on the computer.
Well, something could be handed out, what's coming up next month.
Yeah.
Certainly, on a monthly basis, then our luncheons are monthly.
That might be
so,
something good, okay.
And
Right.
I would encourage the sponsor of the Keene Chamber Luncheon. I know Paul presented to the B Board too, so we may be able to do it in partnership but I also see that could be a really good avenue as we, like I said, Don's department, he's doing a lot, and as we kind of start leveling and expanding that department, that would be an awesome opportunity to bring in developers and those types of things for a free lunch and showcase Keene. And,
Sure.
So I see that as a potentially a really, really good idea.
So thank you, Type A. I'm asking that you include these in your budget. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you. No. Good discussion.
That would be a good idea for the A and B board to present at a chamber meeting.
I would.
Oh, what's wrong with my book?
Yeah, and currently we have I don't know if we're at that line item yet or past it, but the miscellaneous advertising. It's on the same.
And advertising is something that will, I mean, I know hasn't been used traditionally, but again, you know, that is an area that will become a focal point, just because it is very, very necessary. And I talked to the B board a little bit about this yesterday too. Orna, you know, she's been on contract and she's only been working 20 hours a week. And I believe just in the little time she's been here, she's proven how valuable messaging and controlling the narrative of the city is. And so that's an area that, you know, that's a position that I'd really like to see become full-time, a full-time marketing person. And so, you know, that would be another area that I would love for you guys to consider helping us fund that position, because obviously that's also going to help the economic development. When I first got here, I had a lot of developers tell me that, you know, because of the perception out there of Keene, they don't want to bring their business here. Mm-hmm. And so that's something that we're trying really, really hard to overcome and promote how wonderful this town is. And so that would be a position that I really see directly helping this board. And so I would love it if you would consider, you know, putting some money in there so that I can try to make that happen this year.
So you're looking for a line item for salary, or are you looking for just more in the advertising budget?
Preferably salary, because I'd like to make it an actual position.
I'm in favor of that.
Okay, now, are you talking about marketing the city?
Yes, so.
And type A and type B boards?
And yeah, just, you know, obviously this individual isn't going to just be, I mean, unless you want to give me a line item for just a person for you, you know, but again, I'd rather someone come in and just kind of promote all the different areas of the city. And of course, that would be you guys as well, so.
Well, that would be a good idea.
So maybe a third of the salary?
The next question is what is that number? So.
How about an AI assistant?
Yeah, well.
Marketing.
You know, again, if I like round numbers, so a cost of the city being $50,000, you know, for that individual. And here's the thing, like I'm not, to go out and really hire a seasoned marketing rep, I know, or a marketing firm, which I'm not in favor of, you know, you're looking 6 figures. And really what I'm looking for, again, partnering with, Orna came from the university, and she's going to be continuing her education, so we're not going to have her, you know, I wish I could hire her, but that's not going to be an option. So I have to look to, okay, what am I going to do when she transitions out? And she came from the university, and so my kind of idea is let's use this as an opportunity to provide somebody that's young, that understands, you know, technology, because I don't. And so use this as a bridge to, you know, give someone right out of college an opportunity, and if they stay here even 1 year, great. If they stay here 3 years, great. But use this as kind of an entry point for somebody that wants to prove themselves, because, you know, she came right out of college and she's done a great job for us.
So question then, 50,000 is pretty conservative, and if that was split 3 ways, that wouldn't be a whole lot, but do you think 50,000 is too conservative?
You think so? I'll defer to my finance director. What do you think?
Well, Can you come, thank you, I'm sorry. Your voice is soft. Thank you.
I just came back from a TML training for my financial boot camp and budget academy. And it was interesting to me that one of the things that we are experiencing, and as a state in Texas, the small cities are having a lot of turnover in their finance and all the different positions. And a part of it is because of the young people now know they can make good money anywhere else. And so I think because of that, we want to make sure not only we get a really good candidate, but really invest in young people and say, hey, you matter and you have a place with us here. I think it would be amazing from someone, who maybe grew up in Keene, or even someone who's from Arkansas coming into Keene, being at the university for 4 years, see how the city is helping them grow. All the things that we're doing at the city chamber, right? Helping students, pay their bills. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for us to provide partnership with the university that not only we can do, what's the other thing that we were trying to do, internship, but hey, career at the city. And we want to be competitive as well. I think 50 to me is conservative, but I would, just a little bit. 55,000, I think that would be, that would be a generous reward.
But 55 is not the total number, because
It's-
there's overhead involved, and where does that, another 25%?
I think that's something that we have to, I'm still trying to see where fringe benefits.
I've had employees, I know it's not just what you pay them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I didn't mean to say that, you understand. I'm just saying, I think, to your question, is $50,000 conservative? I think it is. I would like to say we can go with 55.
I'll defer to the money person.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
and that covers overhead?
That would be okay for now, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll come back to you with a more definitive number.
Yeah, this is,
Yeah.
like I said, this is just a discussion, and so, again, like, if you look at me and say, no way, then it kills it. But if this is something that you would be interested in, then we can kind of go back and, because I did talk to B-Board yesterday about it, what I'd like to do too, so.
And yes, I'm part of the discussion, okay?
So.
I understand that.
So basically, if we got someone in at, let's say, 55,000, and they turned out to be really phenomenal, then we could offer a raise if they stay by the next year,
Yes.
if it's working really well.
Yeah, I think it's something that we need to agree upon, whether it's by tenure or by merit. That's how we do it. Is it performance-based, or is it just based on COLA? I think it's something that the city needs to go ahead and really think about and move forward with. I think human resources is the biggest infrastructure that we need for the city. And anyway, yes.
Good, thank you.
Yes.
The 55 now, you're talking about an entire salary for 55, or is our part?
Split 3 ways.
It's going to be split 3 ways.
That is kind of low.
Huh?
That is kind of low.
Yeah.
I'm not, these days.
Well,
but
yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, anything you can, because again, one of the biggest problems the city has been retention. And again, what we're trying to do is build that stability, create a strong foundation, because
Yeah.
when you're constantly churning, you just can't get traction, you can't get momentum, so.
I'm with Ms. Beeson. I think 55 is too conservative.
Have it.
Do I hear 60?
Well, and you can always offer the incentive of raises,
Yeah,
Oh.
in 6 months a raise, another 6 months a raise, until you get it where you want it to be, and they're
Yeah.
willing to stay. Yes, Mira?
And the reason why I say 55, because median income for Keene is around 50. I just checked it, it is. So we are offering something that is a little bit more, and they are young. They just graduated out of university. So I think they would benefit more with just also building their portfolio while being here.
Yeah.
And that's why I said that.
Okay.
Would that include benefits, though, or is that just?
No, that's not with French. Yeah. With, you mean like all the insurances? No, it cannot be. Yeah, it will be too small.
Yeah, that's I think that's kind of where he was.
That's where I was headed, yes. Is that 20% or is that 25%, the fringe? I used to figure 22%.
You know, to be honest with you, I don't know that number yet. But I will confirm back. We have not done personnel budgeting, and that's why I prefer to say I'll get back to you on that, because John and we have not sat down and do our personnel budgeting. We are doing our A and B first, and then we're gonna go to our big city. And I think based on those numbers that I can give you a more firm,
Thank you.
accurate numbers, Mr. West.
Okay.
I have a question.
Just a quick question. Did I hear there is an internship program or something like that in the books, something that is?
Yeah, it's something that is in the works.
Okay.
You know, that we would, yeah.
Right, that's something like, will be really good to handle the,
So one of the guys that's on our chamber board, his name is Robin, up at the university, and there's a whole department, and that's kind of what the department does, is it helps students find internships and stuff. So we want to be able to figure out where can we open that up in the city, you know, to get students down here and get experience.
They don't want to work at Brandam's or the broom shop or the stick horse factory anymore.
We don't have them anymore, but we're going to try to bring some more, you know, industries back.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay?
In the personnel costs, the director of development, is that Don Martin's salary? What is included? Who is?
If that's something that we need to get back to you with a better number, because kind of over in the last year or so, it used to be the economic development director was a 50-50 split with A board and B board. Well, then after a while ago, and then they made it the assistant city manager position, then it was kind of split 3 ways. And I think that's what this represents.
Okay.
Because they're over development as well. So that's something that we need to,
Mira,
as a
did you
city
have some?
staff, sit down and discuss and then take to council.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I know,
course.
we don't have
all
per
yours.
se
Please
an
help.
economic
Yeah.
development person, but you serve as that.
So I think like what we're trying to do is do a better cost allocation analysis. Ms. Gwen, I think in the past, I don't know this, but I'm just looking at the budget from one year to another. It looked like it hasn't changed. I think what's necessary for us to actually really see how much is the cost the real cost to doing business. And I think that's very, very crucial. And I don't think, unfortunately, we have not been doing a good job of that. So Mr. Martin and I have been talking about this, and we talked with the city manager as well. So there are parts of the other city members that actually, city staff, that actually contribute to EDCA, EDCB. And I think that allocation of cost, or how much time we put our effort into each board or the city, I think needs to be done more closely. Having said that, like I said, I haven't done my personnel budgeting yet, but I do have the breakdown. Oh, no, don't close on me. My rough estimates, the total would be about $100,000, because there are other people who actually work, a lot of their time actually do contribute to EDCA and EDCB that have not been counted in the past. So as it is right now, right now it's like 9, 9, 9, 10, but I cannot say that that's going to be the final numbers, even with the marketing and advertising person. So that's kind of like where I'm standing right now. I am doing allocation costs, looking at their activity and bringing it back to, well, how much do you contribute to this, your effort? What do you do each day? That's what I'm doing right now to give you a closer and more accurate allocation cost for personnel. Does that sound fair?
And this is crucial because, there's always that argument, well, do we really need to fund a full-time person? Well, if you start looking at individual time, including my time and, all this stuff, by the time it's all over, there's a good chance you may be paying more than what it would be for a full-time person. And so, again, instead of making the numbers work, just kind of cramming them in there and making them work. What we're trying to do is figure out what is the reality, because that's what numbers are supposed to do.
Yes.
They're supposed to paint the picture of what the reality is.
Yes.
And again, that's what we haven't done a great job of doing that for the city.
And I think, having lived in Keene a long time, and Mr. Knott knows what I'm talking about, this little town is not a little town anymore.
That's
It
correct.
has exploded.
That's
I mean,
correct.
it is just like, wow.
Yes. I mean, I sat along with a lot of these other small cities, but when I asked them, oh, these are the small cities, and when I asked them, well, how many, they say there's micro cities and small cities. So when I say, well, what's your population? They say, oh, 4,500. I'm like, oh, now I'm big. It's like 8,800. But anyway, yes to your point, sir.
Okay.
All right, where were we?
Property tax, maybe?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so, as far as that 5,000 in miscellaneous advertising, I have used some of that, and we used a portion of that, for the chamber directory to pay that 800, whatever it was, for the advertisement for that, so I used a portion of that. We also recently just purchased some little kind of tote bags that'll say City of Keene, the city on the rise. And so when we do like the expo or National Night Out, things like that, and we can have I have some child activity books too for water, sewer, stuff like that, can go in those bags and that we can hand out at those events and stuff like that. So I used a little bit of that money too. I think it was $600-700 for all those, again, split with A board and B board. So we're trying to do those little things as well in that miscellaneous advertising. So if we want to leave it at 5,000, or you think maybe we could go a little bit more, and then we could maybe sponsor with A board or B board, sorry, one of the chamber luncheons and do some type of presentation, or any other ideas you may have.
Do we still have any of those flyers, the city of Keene, Keene is open for business
Yes,
flyers?
yes.
Is there a way to get a whole bunch of those?
I'll have to see how many we have.
Because I'm a member of the Builders Association, and to take
How
that.
many do you
and-
want?
Huh?
How many do you need?
Well, they sometimes have 100 people there,
Well, I have a
but they
block
go
back
between 30 and 50 people there.
there. Get with me after the meeting.
And so I thought, well, we can lay those on the tables, because they have lenders there, they have home builders there. Of course, they have every facet of the builders'
Right.
things there.
It would
So
be
the-
nice to
and-
take that, sorry,
Okay,
and kind of update that a little bit with the new development that we've had come in, because I don't think any of those have the new developments or
think-
the new businesses that just came in recently.
no, but they do have that we're on the rise.
Right.
And we're welcoming new businesses and stuff like that. So I think even the way they are, they would work.
Yes,
If you can use them, it's better you can use them than end up in the trash.
Yeah.
So you're welcome
Yeah.
to them.
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
John, I think Orna is working on a new, she showed me one yesterday that was more updated, when she's not.
yes, we've been
Well,
working
it's just
on that.
whichever one you want me to use. We'll be
I've
fine.
given her some of the drone footage and pictures that I've taken of the recent developments, and she's trying to incorporate all that.
Okay.
Ms. Gilman. So I know the Builders Exchange, what you just referred to, has different presenters. And it's not just the city of Cleburne, although it's held in city of Cleburne. I would suggest that maybe you talk to whoever the leadership is there and see if we can have our city manager come speak about Keene.
Well, I have invited him to come.
Well,
And when
I'm
I
talking
find out
about
that
making a
he's gonna come-
presentation.
No, that's what I'm saying. So when I can get him to get there, he can make a presentation.
Okay, so you're ahead of me.
Yes.
Yeah, she has invited me. We just haven't been able to align our
He
calendars
just
yet,
hasn't given
so.
me a date to get it set up for him to do a presentation.
Okay.
But if we can take those flyers at the same time, that would be awesome. Okay.
So what are your thoughts on that dollar amount, 5,000? Leave it the same, increase it a little bit, 7,500, 10,000?
On the miscellaneous advertising?
Yes.
Well, if the ones we have right now are okay, we don't have to get them printed again, that would be good. But if we've got new ones that are better or give more information, that's gonna cost a lot of money. So it just depends on how many things you wanna do and how you wanna do it.
All right, I'll try to get some estimates on
Yeah,
the ideas that I have, or we have.
I think we're growing so quickly that we wouldn't be able to have everything in print in time for our city manager to make his presentation. So if we just had the, what's available and then had him do the speaking and make the presentation, I think that would work out really
I
well.
think you're right. And if I can get a date from him, we'll see how much longer it's gonna take. So you're on the spot there, Jonathan.
Just say when.
Well, I'll let you know when the next one is. Okay, and let's see, okay, Don, what are you going next?
And this business retention and assistance grant, I'm not exactly sure what that, I mean, I have an idea of what it was supposed to mean, but,
That's for the 380 agreements, and
Oh.
right now, we are at $18,000 already.
yeah, well, that's
This is
nothing.
where all the expenses for the canyons and the tractor supply will sit.
Okay.
And that's just for incentives for those things?
That's correct.
Okay,
Right, so 15,000 isn't very much. I mean, to me, that was more, especially when you're talking business retention, it was more in the lines like you were talking about, what you had mentioned before. And it may have been in a council meeting about, like, some of these businesses that, like, the barbecue place and the dental place, they have the trash cans that were kind of sitting in the driveway, and we asked them, hey, can you at least just put them on the grass? But according to our ordinance, they're supposed to be on concrete with an enclosure, you know, but that's kind of a big expense for somebody that's already been in business to all of a sudden go, hey, I need, you know, $5,000-$10,000 to come in compliance. So I think that's more what this would be for.
We talked about this last month, where I would like to see us, you know, provide, you know, businesses can
Some
come,
incentives.
businesses are in town can come to us and say, hey, I'd like some help doing X amount, and then come up with some sort of match and, you know, just to assist.
okay, so exactly what can the Type A board do inside the city limits instead of our industrial park?
Anything, oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I've been researching that and have reached out to neighboring cities who do their boards offer incentives or grants to existing businesses. Most of them are for like facade refresh, becoming compliant, things like that. But as for the actual, what you can and cannot do, I'm still waiting for that response from TML and our legal services. But it is a possibility for you to offer grants to assist local businesses
And-
to beautify, to improve, whatever they need.
Yeah, and it helps their business and it helps our city look good, so.
Okay. Don?
Okay.
Just a quick comment
Sure.
on that one. I know that the city of Arlington offers, you know, up to $10,000 in incentives to companies to promote, you know, anyone to come, and whether it's to move, to relocate or anything, or to the businesses that they are there to improve, where they provide some training or some help to introduce best practices, and they created a budget. I think they had about $100,000, and they had about $10,000, up to $10,000 to the companies that they will apply, and then they will get some, you know, they need a quality management system. So they will have to help to do that. They may have to put some more, but they will have some incentive to help them. And I know about 3 companies that actually have decided to they were in Fort Worth. They say they're moving to Arlington because they're offering nice incentives to grow and to do that. So just some idea there.
Yeah, and I think that can fall more under like a 380 agreement along that. And there are stipulations on like that they have to have X amount of employees, they have to, you know, things of that nature.
And we can always, during the course of the year, if a business comes, we can always come and, you know, conduct it normally. This is more just line items so that we can kind of, it's in there and we can help businesses that are already here. Yeah.
Did you say that we've already spent 18,000?
Yes, ma'am.
So should we just raise that 5,000 at least, or more, but we know we've already spent over what's budgeted.
Do you have any, excuse me,
That's okay.
do you have any list of what that 18,000 was for? Oh, okay.
That's what I was, I'm sorry.
Get you a bar stool there.
Let me pull it up, actually. Yes, they are all for Canyon developers reimbursement. I think this is the 380.
I think what we paid that this year is in the 380 agreement with the Canyons.
Yes.
Is they get back ad valorem tax.
Yes.
And that's what it came to this year because a lot of that property hadn't been, as far as the tax rolls go, was still in the county.
Right.
So next year, it's probably gonna be double that, and especially now that it wasn't, 15 acres, it's now, 75 lots. So. Right,
And the next year's gonna be probably 60,000.
right.
So, yeah, I was going to ask, do we need to have 40, but you suggested 60?
Well, but, I mean, here's the thing, that money is, we're paying them back, and eventually that'll just turn into straight revenue to the city, you know, so, but yeah, it'll, I think Don's got those numbers pretty tight. I mean, it's about 30,000 this next year, and the following year is gonna be at least $60,000-$70,000. And here's the thing, 2 years, at that pace, in 3 to 4 years, that'll be paid for, that'll be paid back.
But we don't want to forget that we're the Economic Development Board. We are not the investor. We are encouraging businesses and developers to come into town. And that is actually the revenue that we're supposed to be using.
Yeah.
So I'm all in favor of this.
So are you thinking that we should increase the 15,000 to 20,000?
60,000.
I think it should be more than 20,000, Ms. Samantha. I think we also need to make room for other businesses if we are going to go ahead and package an incentive for a business coming in. I think we need to be a little bit more generous. I think us saying that, oh, we want to grow, I think we also have to make space and incentives for these businesses to grow. So whatever I think Mr. Martin is saying, like if it's 60,000, 70,000, I think we need to add a little bit more to that. Now, I don't know what the strategic plan is or the plans are for next year, but I think on top of what we say, Mr. West, 60,000, we need to add more. If we want businesses to come, we need to be able to dangle a carrot and say, hey, come over here. Don't go to this city, that city. We have it better over here. That's my personal.
And I have a very good friend who is actually city councilman for Arlington. And I know that Arlington is growing.
Yes, sir.
And they're very aggressive. And we're not going to compete with Arlington.
of course
I
not.
understand that. But we're in a very unique position. We've got 67 running here through town, and we've got Old Betsy, which is now more traffic than 67.
Yeah, I think, I'm sorry, but I think university is always in my heart. So, for example, they have an observatory, right? They also have the biggest collection of bones, John.
And you can print bones, and I've got, and you can print bones in Iraq, or you can print bones in Japan that are right here in in our museum.
Right, we could have a business strategy to say, hey, you know, like, we'll help you do something, you know, to help you grow the museum.
Yep.
Those are the things I would do, but anyway.
Well, I can tell you from personal experience.
Yes, ma'am,
Before I moved to Keene,
yes.
way back when, I didn't even know that there was a dinosaur museum here.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know there was an observatory here. I didn't even know Keene was here. I didn't know there was a university here. And I mean, that was living in Dallas and Fort Worth and around everything there, and I did not know that it was
That's
even
hidden
here.
secrets.
So all those things would be really, really important. And for my real estate business, I did about a 15 item printout to give to people on all of the things that are in Keene that are
Yes.
fun and educational to go to and to do, and the surrounding things like the Plaza Theater in Cleburne and different things like that. So that when people come into our community, they would know of all these things that they can go out and try, which I never knew. And so those are some things that we need to add into however we're marketing Keene, you know, is because there are those things.
That's
And again, this, I think the university for years kind of purposely kept a low profile.
Oh,
you
I know they-
And again, this is where we're tearing down and building those relationships and stuff, because I know Anna's very interested in, you know, let's serve the whole community, not just the Adventist
Yeah,
community.
right.
Yes.
And so, her and I have had several conversations, again, about partnering, and so this is, you know, this is how we help each other.
Okay, so do we want to then consider $60,000 there in the Business Retention and Assistance Program for our next budget? And then if that works out, and if we need more, we can always come back and vote for some more in.
Correct, and we'll come back to you with some better numbers, because we need to have a discussion
Right.
on this whole ad valorem tax and where that actually money comes from and goes to.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean,
And
yeah.
that's
Then
what
we'll
I'm
come
saying. So
back.
we can think along those lines, but
Right.
we'll have better numbers later, okay?
Okay, but at least we got a running start.
Okay.
And a good starting point, jumping off point, whatever you
Okay.
call it. Head first.
Okay,
Back.
Don, what's next?
All right. So, property taxes, we shouldn't have that on there anymore. Now that we can get that into our name, it should be tax exempt. So that should eliminate that.
But will it be tax exempt in the industrial park?
Yes, because the city owns it.
Okay,
So all that.
okay.
They'll pay taxes
Yeah,
when
and
they
then
do
once somebody
something.
else purchases it, then it
Yeah.
will no longer.
So that's gonna be out
tax
there,
exempt.
okay. And 317?
Yeah, that's what that was. Those
Oh,
are
okay.
property taxes.
Okay, well, I saw the property
We're
appraisal.
supposed
Oh,
to be
that's
set
appraisal.
aside for the couple acres of the Dane property.
Okay,
Now,
yeah,
we're
okay.
hopefully getting that all resolved. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Industrial park maintenance, mowing, things like that, again, I'd like to keep that there just in case. And again, you know, Public Works kind of did it on their overtime or day off, and, you know, pay somebody to come in and try to just keep it clean if somebody did come out there. So it wasn't, you know, they were doing it weekly, it was just every few weeks, maybe once a month, depending on.
So I have a question, and I know it costs to have our equipment and keep it maintained, and we're short on Public Works people, and I know Type B Board has a contract to take care of the parks. Why would we not also have them take care of the industrial park? Just like, and have that be part of their maybe additional contract.
Well, now that we've sold that and are still under contract to sell some more of that, the rest is pretty much just wooded and then pasture land, which we're leasing out for the time being. So there isn't a lot more to mow out there like there was.
Okay.
So I don't really think that's necessary right now unless you
All right.
want to, you know, spend $70,000 to $100,000 to have all those
No.
trees knocked down and then maintain it.
Thank you.
All right, so then administration, you have those other things that probably may or may not change. If they do, it wouldn't be much, but they need to stay there. If anybody has any questions about that.
Miscellaneous office supplies, would that not grow somewhat because we are, and I know we're city here, but with the growth that we have, would that need to increase some?
That's something that we're gonna, hopefully, with all the departments, get together and kind of figure those budgets out.
Okay.
And then like Jonathan and Mayor were trying to explain actually what really portion does go to A board, B board. And
Okay.
So basically, you guys are going to go through and try to increase, or correct these numbers, or make it,
correct.
give us
That's why I
another.
said they may change. If they do, it's not
Yeah.
gonna be an astronomical
Okay.
amount.
So I have another question. So, city council is going to be meeting on our budget, and so our budget will be completed. You'll be able to present it for our next meeting, and do we have to have a special meeting in order to present it to city council on time?
Well, if everything looks good at next month's meeting, then you would vote to adopt it or make some changes, and then and then accept it with those changes. And then once you approve it, then it goes to city council.
And city council is only meeting once a month now?
We're gonna have some
understand.
budget meetings.
If they're meeting?
No, there will be budget workshop meetings.
Oh, okay.
So there might be 4 a month. It all depends. We're still working
Okay.
all that out.
You can tell I'm really skeptical about what's
Okay.
going on with city council.
That's fine.
Let's see here, okay, and
We will do our best.
so
Okay.
we're gonna get that next time. So is there any other questions?
So now we don't have any capital improvement projects on here. That's kind of the next thing I wanted to talk about. And obviously, the big monkey on our back is County Road 317, going into the industrial park from the other side. So what I had given you is just a short map, shows the highlighted area, had our engineers do a little bit more in-depth study because you had authorized me to spend some money to actually get something engineered and pay our engineers to do that. This is what they came up with on this other sheet over here. So you're looking at $2.4 million. Size.
Total, including,
And that's just to go from 67 to the edge, basically, of the church.
Where the county line is.
That's
I'm not
kinda it.
surprised. I mean, people don't realize what this kind of thing costs.
Right. Obviously, we don't have that kind of money right now, and we don't want to go into debt. We don't want to take any debt out if we don't have to.
Make it a toll road.
What's that?
Make it a toll road.
Make it a toll road. I don't think that's legal.
Everything else is.
Well, I mean,
So what we're looking at is try to do this in like baby steps.
Sure.
And the first thing would be the drainage issue. So that's my recommendation was let's get that drainage issue. Let's get that torn out. Let's get the right size culverts put in, nice concrete blocks, concrete.
Culvert.
Thank you. Yes. Concrete culverts put in, and then, even if we just maintain that road with base rock for now, and then, go ahead and make it a little bit wider and get the drainage ditches to where that drains properly, and it's easy to maintain. And then, next year, or if we get more businesses coming in, then we can move to the next step. Putting in storm drains down the side so we can make that wider.
Yeah.
So,
I'm in favor of that.
so you're looking at, I will try to get this broke down with our engineers to say, hey, if we just did the surveying, the drainage, give me a number for that and kind of put that in there, and obviously be conservative or go above and beyond that. Because we do have, Mary, do you know how much is in the money market account? I want to say it was about, was it 600,000? For, is it already earmarked?
Yeah.
Okay. So if we kind of looked at the total expenditures as of right now, that may change a little bit, is 117, say 120,000. And your revenue is 388, I think is what you said. What'd you say? Oh, yeah, projection is 368.
74.
374. It's somewhere in there. That was close.
Yeah,
So who's the math person here?
that's 240,000 roughly that
Okay.
you have to play with for next year.
Plus 100,000 or so that we have in the bank.
And I have driven that road a couple times now just to make sure that it is drivable for Beal Baptist Church, which are, they're good people up there.
Yes.
And thank you for doing that. I mean, thanks to the city for taking care of that.
And Public Works has been out there a few times trying to clean it up, but
And
there's only so
doing
much
this is
they
just
can
an
do.
addition to that, and they will see, as will in the industrial park, people who are either wanting to buy the industrial park or buy pieces of it.
Right.
We haven't made that decision yet, how we're gonna do things, but it makes everything, I think these are good steps.
Okay. So we'll come back to you with a number, more definitive number on that capital. Is there any other things that you would like to see?
It seems to me like it will be nice to see it in phases. Like, for example, this is the whole package, right? And this is the total thing. And I like your proposal to have it, okay, phase one, how long will that take and how much will that take? And then phase two, because sometimes there are some things that you can do in parallel, sometimes they need to be serial, so depending what it is, it will be nice to see it in some phases that can be more affordable, but that we can say, hey, you know, it has clarity and it makes sense. So
Right.
that would be good.
Okay.
That bridge will be a huge help.
Yeah, I think it will, getting that, because right now it's just two small steel culverts and, you know, with all that road base that's been pushed in over the years of GTI trying to keep it maintained, it's kind of clogged up the bar ditches, so getting it cleaned up, getting in bigger culverts, you know, square box culverts, thank you, under there, I think is going to help a great deal with helping to maintain that for now.
Okay. If there's no other questions, we have no executive session
Hold on,
today.
hold on.
Ms.
Did,
Beeson asked.
Oh, I'm sorry.
did we talk to the commissioner out there, since part of that is not in the city limits?
I've actually been talking to Mr. Larry Woolley. So we do have another, I'm supposed to come see him again next week when I get back from the conference. So I'm seeing what we can do there.
Ask him to
Yeah.
yodel for you.
Oh, well, yeah. And
He
his
does that.
He does yodeling on top of auctioneering.
Oh,
huh?
Yeah.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Ah,
man of many talents.
yeah.
Yes.
So if there's anything you guys think of, you know, during the week, like I said, take this home, take them both home, look at it. If something pops in your head, you know, let us know. And that way, when we come back to you next month, we can add that in there and have a discussion and hopefully make a decision and get this budget approved.
Oh, one thing, can we have something on there to where we're sticking some money aside or back to put a sign up if we ever get a place to put one?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if we actually need like a line item or if we actually need a direction, because anything that you don't spend in your budget goes into that money market account, so it's there.
Okay.
And it's up to you on how to, all right? Shh, the expert has an answer to that.
Okay.
This has nothing to do with that, I'm sorry. I just thought about something. I just heard that it may take 2.4 million-ish to have this done. And I think we cannot stop the growth from growing. And I think we need to ride the wave, so to speak. And I think the board, if you would, consider a higher number on our grant budget line so that we can hire, you know, like,
The
no,
grant
just more
writer?
people. So we can have grants. There's a lot of grants out there. And I think what we're facing here in Keene is just short of human resources. we don't have time, there's too many things going on. But I think I would ask for board, with your permission, city manager and Mr. Martin, I think it's something that we need to look forward to. I don't think the city should stand at a stagnant and not grow. The growth is coming, and we need to build infrastructure for the growth to come. If we don't have the money and we can't go more into debt, let's grab the free money. That's the way I look at it.
Okay, so you're asking for a line item for a grant writer?
Adding to it.
An add on, because I think right now it's 5,000, right?
Yeah.
Mr.
I
Martin?
think it was on this one,
Yeah,
wasn't
it's
it?
Yeah, it's
there's a
there.
line item for it for 5,000 right
Yeah.
now,
Well,
so she's saying
is
increase.
that enough?
Well,
I-
it can start out to be enough. We can approve more later if it.
Yeah, I think like, because I know like Dawn is spread thin, you know, I think having grant writers and just seeking.
Oh, you want to talk about my favorite?
And that too, okay. I think there are a lot of opportunities that we're just passing by, you know. I don't think that we should say, hey, you know, let's not do this. I think that is like an amazing thing that we have to do, and, you know, to your point, we can do it in phases. But if we're gonna wait till when we can, you know, get more, we can add to our loan, to our debt, or when we're gonna have more money, I think we have to go around that and find other source of funding. And the way I look at it, you know, Solomon's Temple, Jerusalem, they were all built by, you know, like the nation's money, other nations' money. That's the way I look at it. That's the way I live. So, you know,
Free money.
that's right. Anyway.
And,
Good
and
idea.
for that, you know, I can say I'm a bit uncomfortable
Oh, you are?
looking at the budget
Uh-huh.
without knowing the direction, without knowing where, you know, what are those 3, 4 big objectives for the next 3 years, and what are those 5, 6 strategies for this year, that these activities, and then the budget is the tool that helps me to
That's correct.
really make that happen, rather than
The other way
looking
around.
backwards. So it's, but I understand the situation, and I say, you know, let's continue to do it, let's make it in such a way that then eventually we can really match it, and we can have something together. But that's the reason why I was interested when I hear the, you know, internships, because I think the bottleneck, if we identify what is the bottleneck or what is the constraint for the city right now, I will say is resources.
That's right.
Is resources. And that is why I'm interested in what is the org chart that will make it happen? Where is it that we need 3, 4, you know, clones of Don? You know,
Martin,
we need
yes.
to clone him so many times. Like, what is it? But all that is going to happen when we say, this is the plan, here are those objectives, here's what we need to do, we need these resources to make it happen, and this is the budget for that. So
Yes, sir.
that's the direction. And see if we can get some, I think that I heard that we have the, you know, university, some internships, some people that will be willing to come and say, let me help you out. But we need to create that infrastructure. We need to create the spaces so they can actually help rather than just be on the way, right? So just making the comment for what I'm seeing
Yes, sir.
next, right?
Well,
Thank you, Mayor.
UTA,
Thank you, Board.
UTA has a wonderful intern program. In fact, when my corporate office was right by the ballpark, there were several students that we use as interns that eventually turned into full-time students, and one of them is still at the company that I hired him at. So, so again, definitely see the value in that. And I also let the B board know I do have a meeting today at 2 o'clock with one of our partners that help us with grants. And so I've got a list of things, you know, from these conversations that, you know, I'm going to ask her, this is what we're looking for, see what you can find. So,
But with these grants, then we also has to be open-minded that some of them, and usually all of them, have some matching to it. And, you know, you can't just go out and apply for these grants without that mindset, okay, we're gonna have to put a little money into it
Yeah.
to get this big amount.
and that's where, this is why budgets are so important. Like you said, instead of working backwards, then I can go to her and say, hey, listen, this is how much money's been allotted. Go get as much bang for your buck with this money as you can with grants. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, so it's, again, we're kind of just trying to turn things around. And also, I don't mean this, it's probably a good thing the city has not recently had a lot of grants, because the way our infrastructure was set up, we would have failed. And then when you start failing and getting out of compliance with grants, it makes it that much harder to get grants. I mean, you get blacklisted. And so, again, the world that Mira comes from, because she's, managing tens of millions of dollars worth of grants over there, the reason the university continued to get grants was because the infrastructure was set up and they stayed in compliance and all that kind of stuff. So again, it's a momentum thing. When you have the right foundation, it's easier to get the free money. So,
But with the grants, you have to have a grant administrator.
and that's who our partners are. So that's, again, we don't have money to hire a full-time person. So it's easier to pay these people a portion of those grant funds to get it done. So.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Yes, well, thank you. Is there any requests for any future agenda items from anyone? Nobody?
Ready to approve the budget next month.
Okay, be ready to do it. It says discussion and approval for the EDC budget next month. Okay, meeting adjourned at 10:27.